back, everyone. On the Carter File this evening, the anguish suffered by the families of Canadian soldiers in Afghanistan when casualties are announced.
Thank you, Lynn. When Canadians are killed in Afghanistan, it can mean hours of torturous waiting for family members back home, waiting for the phone call they pray never comes. Well, yesterday, Jim Ryan of Mount Pearl never got that phone call, thankfully. His soldier son was not among the latest dead, but for 3.5 hours, the Ryan family lived the nightmare of not knowing that.
On a quiet street in Mount Pearl, half a world away from Afghanistan, the Ryan family fights to survive an emotional war zone.
I was on my way back to my office in the car, and I heard on the news that 6 Canadian soldiers had been killed in southern Afghanistan.
Where news of more Canadian casualties always leads to anguish and dread over a phone call they pray never comes.
The longer you go without a phone call, the better news it is.
It's my sad duty today to advise you that at approximately 11 o'clock this morning, 6 Canadian soldiers and 1 local Afghan interpreter were killed when the vehicle they were driving in struck an improvised explosive device about 20 kilometers southwest of Kandahar City.
That grim announcement yesterday of more Canadian casualties sent shudders through Jim Ryan and his family. His son James is a 22-year-old combat engineer in Afghanistan.
This is now his 4th close call.
Corporal James Ryan was there when an IED killed 6 of his comrades on Wednesday. It took hours for his family to receive the phone call they were waiting for, from a son who had survived another close call.
He said, I'm alive, I'm okay. Don't know what you hear on the news, but I'm okay. And his mother said, did you know the people? And he said, yes. And she said, were you there? And he said, yes. And he said, I've got to go.
The Ryans are like thousands of Canadian families with loved ones in Afghanistan, dreading news of soldiers killed, dreading the phone call that will change their lives forever.
It's a very emotional time because you have so many thoughts that go through your mind about if it's your son or whose son or daughter that it might be, and the thoughts that those families will go through.
There have been calls for Canada to bring its soldiers home.
I absolutely support the mission in Afghanistan.
Though Jim Ryan, who could one day receive the phone call that all soldiers' families pray never comes, still believes in Canada's mission in Afghanistan and his son's commitment to it.
We hear the very worst on the news when somebody gets injured or killed, but I believe we should be there, yes.
Really, the families of soldiers in Afghanistan, in a way, the forgotten combatants in this war. And they sit like that and they wait when they hear the news, when they hear on television that additional Canadians have been killed in Afghanistan, wondering if, you know, their son or daughter is one of those casualties. James Ryan, Corporal James Ryan, due back in Newfoundland August the 24th, and I can assure you that the Ryan family is counting the days.
And the military in recent months or years has noticed that, and they've set up this family support system for them as well.
Yeah.
But still, when they're that far away and you don't know, it must be just awful.
Interesting, though, about 5 minutes before I got to Jim Ryan's house today, he was messaging his son in Afghanistan, and they were talking to one another. The phone call actually came last night.
30 seconds only.
30 seconds only. That's all the time they're given. But today, they were able to spend some more time on the internet to chat, which was kind of nice to see.
Thanks, Glenn.
All right.